Welcome in, everybody. It is a new season, baby. It is the Black Twitch League. It is their 12th season. It is week one. It is the first series between Team Ishtar and the Westchester University Rams. My name is Yanni. I am joined by my co-caster, Tim Hortons aficionado, RareAdam. Adam, it's a brand new year. Only 6 players from the last season are on teams this year. Maria's Dungeon, defending champion, not fielding a team this year. The throne is empty.
The throne's empty. All of these teams are looking to come in and get a piece of the BTL crown. Of course, a couple of returning teams, not from last season, but from before, one of which is Team Ishtar here. So a couple of familiar faces for the veterans of the league here, but WCU Rams here, completely new roster. I've casted for them in some other leagues, but this is their first time here in the BTL. So it is a very open league this time around. We're going to get to see one of our more exciting teams. We talked about min-maxing a team earlier in our own chats there, but we talked about one of those teams. They're going to be playing tomorrow, but for today, we get to see a couple of our newer faces.
Yeah, the lore runs a little bit too deep for me. I haven't been around too long, so some of these names are unrecognizable for me, but I will recognize them soon as we are here into the picks and bans. These teams flying through them. Team Ishtar has taken out Zillion, Vex, Set. Meanwhile, the Rams, they've gotten rid of Fiora, Gwen, and Zeri. Team Ishtar, they decide, you know what? We're just going to first pick the strongest champion of the game right now. It's Jinx.
Yep, Jinx getting picked up very early on. You know, Powder from Arcane, what? She's in the game of League of Legends as well? Wow, wouldn't believe it. But yeah, Jinx very strong right now. Any sort of time a reset champion is in a moderate to good spot in the meta means that they are going to get a lot of priority. And of course, Jinx, she gets excited. She takes down 1 tower, then she can take down 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and pick up, you know, a million kills and everything. It gets a little bit ridiculous. So picking that champion up, it's really safe blind. But the response here with the Victor and the Thresh. Victor, one of those, I would say, S- tier mid laners right now. I don't think there's any S tier mid laners right now, but very strong right now. Has a couple of tough matchups, but obviously WCU are feeling pretty confident just to pick that one up. And the Thresh as the answer to the Jinx. Interesting option, must be a pocket pick there, because Thresh, you generally want to see what the enemy support is, at least get an idea of what the support matchup you're going into is.
Absolutely. Thresh is so abusable as somebody who plays him quite often. Mainly caster supports your karmas, stuff of that nature. You know, strong champion right now, karma is. That usually results in issues for Thresh. I like the Victor pick for the Rams. Victor's, you know, you think he's S-. I think he's S tier. I think Victor's one of the best mid laners in the game right now, if not the best. Problem is players in NA don't play him very well. But the scaling matchup for the Jinx is pretty good. Team Ishtar, they've seen the first 2 picks. They go for Syndra Lulu as their next 2. And then the Rams, they go with the Callista to round out the first half of the picks.
This is a really interesting pickup because Callista is sort of been the forgotten AD carry. She still has a lot of damage, and she still can be an incredibly punishing lane opponent, especially into something like the Jinx because of how much early damage you get with the Rend, but no one plays Callista. No one likes to play the champion. I think the only time I've seen it recently was there was this one trick who was playing it in one of their games that got unbanned, and then top lane whenever people are like, hey, I'm the shy, I can play Callista top lane. So not a very common pickup here. The flip side, though, the Syndra into the Victor, you're able to match the range, you're able to have a little bit more kill threat before level 6 even, and the Lulu going alongside the Jinx is no surprise. Jinx Lulu, one of the strongest and safest lanes, but I am going to keep my eyes on this Callista. And of note, no junglers picked up in the first round of picks, which is incredibly odd.
And one thing to note, harkening back to the Callistas, while Callista may be seen as, quote, the forgotten AD carry, Kalichi, the AD carry for the Rams, did not forget about Callista. Pretty much a Callista main, had a lot of success a couple of years ago on that champion. Things have gotten a little different for the champion and the role as a whole, but you know what? If you're good at a champion, you better jam it. As we said, the bans went through, a lot of junglers out of the way. There's the Nunu, there's the Xin Zhao, Hecarim, Tryndamere also gone. So the jungle pool is beginning to evaporate. We will have to see what Team Ishtar opts into here. Vaperto, you all would know better than I, apparently was a pretty good standout in the league earlier on. Happens to play a pretty good Rengar and Hecarim. Those are gone, so maybe you're opting to a Rengar. It doesn't really fit too well in a team composition, I would think. But Camille is the pick for the top laner Tygoon.
Yeah, the Jarvan getting picked up, very safe pick. Camille as well, very safe picks. It doesn't seem like they want to go too far out on a limb here, but the Kayn coming through is going to provide a little bit of a different situation here. By the looks of it, you're only going to be going blue form if you want to try and one-shot this Kalista or this Victor. Would be curious to see if it is a blue Kayn, because of course we have seen some Kayn pulled out here in the BTL last season, and it was a lot of blue Kayn. I think that was the main thing. I believe a couple games came from Shifo, a couple came from some other players, but the Shen going to be that last pick, so very safe up on the top lane, but the jungle matchup here for Team Ishtar going to be very curious.
Yeah, and realistically, Jarvan wants to gank early, Kayn wants to fight early to be able to pick up those forms, so we should see fireworks in the jungle. Taking a look at these team compositions as a whole, I gotta say, I like the Rams and I like what they're doing.
The Rams have themselves a really interesting comp. The only caveat I want to bring to that is the Kalista is always an unknown. It's so difficult to stay relevant in games with Kalista if you fall behind. So if we see this Kayn consistently pushing towards this bottom side of the map, if a Imperator just sort of sets up their tent next to Kalichi on this Kalista, it's going to bode well for the side of Team Ishtar. But on the side of WCU Rams, they have so much snowball potential. Once you get this Victor ahead, you get this Kalista ahead, once you get the Jarvan ahead as well, you have so much extra safety with your Thresh, with your Shen, to be able to go for these hyper-aggressive picks. So going to be very curious to see how everyone wants to play out that sort of early game, because we really have to see this Kalista pop off the score sheet if she wants to be as relevant as we expect.
And, taking a look at both of the teams, we said the Rams scale very well. They might scale a little bit better than Team Ishtar, but if you take a look at Team Ishtar top to bottom as well, it's not like Syndra doesn't scale at all, or Camille or Kayn. So we could see a scenario where, while the Rams have a nice amount of protection in the form of a Shen, in the form of a Thresh, and a Jarvan to a certain extent, does Team Ishtar have too much damage for the Rams to handle?
Yeah, and Team Ishtar, especially when you've got this, like, you've basically got 3 one-shot champions already built in there if it is a blue Kayn here. Camille going to be able to absolutely destroy this Jinx come later on into the, or Kalista later on into this game, sorry. The Syndra going to be able to destroy this Kalista as well. Another thing to factor in, though, is if we see the Kayn going for blue form, that W acts almost like an attack speed slow as well to the Kalista. Any slows in general end up being attack speed slows because she is so reliant on her jumping around there with the martial poise. You've got to be really careful when you're playing this Kalista, because slows can end up being stuns in a lot of situations, and especially when you're already fighting up against a Lulu who's going to be firing off plenty of those throughout the laning phase. You really do need to try and snowball this lane, and you have to put as many resources into this Kalista as possible.
I'm not sure if that is necessarily the case. No, you could go either way with the Victor or with the Kalista, because Victor can just solo carry games.
Yes.
That said, I do feel like if the Rams do elect to pour resources into Kalista, Team Ishtar is going to have a hard time trying to counteract that, because take a look at the CC they have on their team. I'm not sure how this Kayn is going to be able to convert any kills in the early game. The CC is just not really there for these guys. It's a Syndra stun, it's a Camille hookshot, but then, like, when you're talking about Jinx chompers and, like, Lulu slows and polymorphs as your main form of proactive ganking CC, doesn't seem that great to me.
Yeah, I think, as you mentioned, yes, there is always the option of going towards this Victor, but I think that Victor is better from behind than Kalista is, and that's why I lean more towards saying you've got to put all your resources into that Kalista, because she is so good when she is ahead, but she is not a champion when she is behind. It's really sad when you watch Kalistas trying to take fights when they're like an item behind, even half an item behind, because they just don't do anything. Her auto attacks do 90% of her AD. That's another sort of caveat to her play. A lot of her damage comes from her rend, but if she's behind, she gets 3 auto attacks in, and then she's like, well, I either rend and I don't get to do that for the rest of the team fight, or I hope and pray that the rest of my team can sort of follow up on it. So I think Victor is more relevant when behind than Kalista is, which is why I say that. But yes, as you're saying, the gank setup against this Kalista is going to be a little bit difficult, because there's also the Thresh that you have to worry about. Holy on this Thresh are going to have a big job in peeling for the Kalista, but it's pretty easy when you're only peeling away one form of crowd control or one member, which would be the Kayn coming in from the side.
Right, and we talked about earlier before the broadcast started about how Frostbite, opposite of Kalichi, is a pretty dangerous player, but Chicken the Wing, seen as the weak link of the spot lane. I do wonder if the Rams are going to be able to exploit that. And if that's how you're going to try to convert kills onto the Callista, that's the target you got to aim for.
I think that the Lulu in this matchup is really the exploitable force because a lot of the times you don't want to see the Lulu using the shield on herself. Her job is going to be get this Jinx past the early game. Get Jinx to 12, 13 minutes into this game where you can start to move around the map a little bit more when you start to have a little bit more agency. But it's really just about making sure you have the right target selection because the worst thing that you can do is say, oh, you know what, we're just going to focus this Lulu no matter what and let Jinx free fire for the entire time, or we're only focusing this Jinx while Lulu's able to get so many free shields. I think it's going to be important for the side of WCU Rams here to make sure that they're layering the crowd control properly onto both of them, if anything. That's the best case scenario. Just be able to crowd control both of them, then they can't both stay alive, right? So it brings a little bit of an interesting angle down there to that bottom side, but I think Chicken the Wing, if they're able to pilot this Lulu through the first 12 to 13 minutes without too many deaths or, you know, even getting a little bit of a lead, it will bode extremely well for Team Ishtar.
Well, while Team Ishtar looks to have this Lulu piloted through the first 12 minutes of the game, we're looking to pilot ourselves through the spectator delay. So do not go anywhere. We will be taking a short break, but when we come back, we will be bringing you Game 1 of a new Black Twitch League season between Team Ishtar and the WCU Rams.
Welcome to Summoner's Rift.
But
Until minions spawn.
they're prepping for a counter invade, which is bold, but I don't think it's going to work out here. They just end up sending 5 members down. Of note, look at the top side. I believe that's the Jarvan putting down their ward right on the blue buff. So they're going to have perfect information of where Vaperto decides to start if he starts on a buff. Canes love to not start on buffs, though. They like to start on their neutral camps.
Minions have spawned.
In 1 second. Actually, no one can hear Yanni right now. I'm just going to fix that really quickly. 1 second. We'll get you back on there as... All right.
You can hear me, all right?
Yes, we're good. We're good.
Okay.
You're back in here.
Okay, well then, all right. Man, I had a nice introduction and everything about how it was a new league, a new day.
It's week 1 production. We'll go with that.
Week 1 production.
Yeah.
All right, so what do you expect to see out of this early game pathing out of these 2 junglers?
I think early game pathing, as you can see with both of them, starting on their red buffs actually, we're going to see sort of mirrored pathing here. The Jarvan doesn't really want to fight against this Kayn in the early game, just because the more orbs Kayn get of either color end up being really strong for that early game. You want to try and get that transform as early as possible. So Jarvan, I think, will try and make some plays around this bottom side of the map. Probably a level 3 gank here. I want to see them just go right for Gromp here, actually, to get level 3 a little bit earlier. That will bode well for them. But this Kayn, I think, has a little bit more flexibility, can just sort of full clear into do whatever at that point. But level 2 coming down on the bot side.
Yep, Flay into Hook. Glacial augment, a new pickup for Threshers. And oh my god! That Ren, so much damage as Kalichi and Holy get first blood here in the bot lane. That was fast.
Just a lot of damage potential here. Oh, the dive on bot side.
Yeah, they went for it. Holy's going to have to burn Flash. Frostbite had to flash as well. Interesting to note, Frostbite opting into the exhaust, so if that dive came down, it might not have been too great for the side of the Rams.
I guess another factor behind why Kalista can sometimes struggle is because of the prevalence of exhaust in the bottom side. Now, you know, a lot of AD carries opting away from heal, opting for exhaust, and exhaust basically acts as an like even bigger of a boon against the Kalista. But mid lane here, Vaperto.
Oh, flashes right at him. Doesn't get quite a lot of damage down. Dissipate is trying to find a way around, but the pathing is not quite there as the auto attacks are coming down. Finds the knockup. Please don't run it. Getting very low. Has to wait for those cooldowns to come back. One more auto attack should do it, but it was a great double stun by Face to the Wind. They're going to find a kill onto that Victor, now being chased down by Holy on the other side of the fight. Vaperto is trying to find a way out. Gonna dash into the wall, being followed by the Jarvan. However, the Lulu is here. The Ignite goes down, the flag drives, but no! He goes right into the choppers and falls, but Kalichi flashing forward, throwing a spear, getting a kill. 2 kills for this AD carry now.
Oh my goodness, just absolute mayhem in this early game here. You can see Kalista just being able to reset there, pick up a bunch of swords from that first blood, and able to get another kill for themselves. So Kalichi is off to the races here on this Kalista, but we have to consider that this Kayn also able to get a whole bunch of orbs there. Doesn't look like they're going for the blue Kayn, though, with that Iron Spike weapon inventory and the Conqueror generally hinting towards the likes of that red Kayn, which would do significantly better into this matchup when you're looking at it now, because if this Kalista does get ahead, she's going to still have a lot of trouble dealing with the damage that red Kayn can do, as well as all of that healing.
Right, and, you know, that would force Victor into some sort of Morello item where it's just going to be Kalista has to be the one to pick it up. But as you said, this Kalista off to the races has double buffs as well, and, I mean, I don't understand how one champion can hold all of these swords, but it looks like Kalichi is doing it. I like how both AD carries have opted into exhaust, and we haven't even seen Kalista need it yet. But let me tell you something: the secret sauce is actually Ghost on AD carries.
Yeah, honestly, I've seen a bunch of different stuff. I've seen like exhaust Ghost, cleanse Ghost coming out on AD carry, like not in troll games, and it's pretty insane. Like, honestly, Flash has started to get it feels like it's not as important now because of how much mobility you already have in the game. Granted, I think that on a Kalista where your life is super important, I'm not surprised to see them take the flash and even take the exhaust here, because if you're getting exhausted, you just want to drop that exhaust on the other AD carry as well. So that's sort of it's sort of handshakes, right? It's like if you take exhaust and the other AD carry takes heal, then they're going to be at a slight disadvantage because they don't really have that offensive capability. So then you're forced to take exhaust. And then, who knows, maybe next time they take exhaust Ghost, and it's like, well, I only have this amount of extra mobility. Maybe I should take Ghost next time. So that's sort of what happens. You don't want to end up having mismatches a lot of the time.
It's a huge mind game for the AD carries at that point. And then both of you just put down an exhaust and then just stand there and look at each other.
Away, yeah.
You see Voperdo trying to get the angle. Kalichi going forward has been exhausted. Voperdo from the side. The hook does go down on. And oh my god, that's a great three-man play. Kalichi is just running the fight right now. There's a double kill. Voperdo, though, on top of Kalichi will find the kill. And now I don't think Dare Holy is going to have the damage to be able to kill this Kayn. Sometimes you do as Thresh, but Kayn a little bit too healthy. No shutdown. No. I believe Voperdo did get some sort of shutdown onto the Kalista. 4 kills, though, onto this AD carry right now. Very dangerous. We did not know what Kalichi was going to bring to the table on this Kalista. As you said, it was going to be a mixed bag going into it.
Yeah, and I think another factor about the Kalista is that now that she's got 4 kills, she's the strongest AD carry that you can think of because she has burst, and that's something that a lot of AD carries don't have, especially in this early game. I'm curious to see what sort of build we see, though. I believe they're going for the Immortal Shield Bow build. I've seen a couple of different options for builds, one of which involving Blade of the Ruin King into Runons into Titanic Hydra, so building very much like a Zeri, but in this case, it looks like it's just going to be the more quote-unquote standard build. We'll probably see a Gwynsu's come out at some point as well.
Nothing too crazy, but hey, we might see that Gwynsu sooner rather than later, as now we see a fight up in the top lane between Kingfisher and Tygoon. Very, very low on both sides. Who's going to win? Tygoon getting the last auto attack down. Kingfisher will fall. Voperdo in the thick of things, trying to find a kill onto Please Don't Run It. Flag and drag down. Look at all the damage. There's a big shutdown for the Jarvan. And from the side, from the bot lane, Kalichi comes through, picks up a mid laner, and says, I'll take that one, thank you very much. 5-kill Kalista. 7 minutes in.
Oh man, this Kalista's off the rails, and we mentioned that, they probably have to put all their resources into this Kalista. Kalista says, no, I don't need any resources. I'm gonna do it myself. So strong right now. Only level 5 though, so not really feeling the need to go up and play for this go in for the bot lane play here, but is just going to be able to continue pushing forward these farm leads, gonna find more and more kills. And like, you look at the difference in AD carry items right now. It's tier 2 boots, the Noon Quiver, that longsword, against just the Noon Quiver and tier 1 boots on the side of this Jinx, with Kalista sitting on a lot of gold in the inventory. We actually popped that open here. Yeah, you can see it's already about a 2,000 gold lead for this Kalista. She's going to be laughing all the way to the bank with whatever she so desires. And at this point, it's just fed AD carry. It doesn't matter that it's not as strong as we were thinking, but Kalista's so strong right now as well.
Yeah, and typically you kind of gloss over boots as an item, but you can't do that on Kalista. Just because of, the tie into the champion identity and how much extra power you receive for completing your tier 2 boots. It's about as close as you can get to a full completed item.
Yes, I mean, having that extra dash distance on your Martial Poise is massive on a champion like Kalista, where your entire kit revolves around kiting. It's basically... Like, Kalista, honestly, is one of the most ingenious champion designs in the sense that she forces AD carries to kite in a very strange way, and it sort of, translates over to other champions, but Kalista is so important to get those tier 2 boots as quickly as possible.
Yeah, I guess Riot Games determined that they wanted AD carries to get better at the game when they released Kalista.
Yes.
So it's something that you can do a lot of. Holy, flashing over the choppers, getting the flay down. Again, the Glacial Augment is so strong. Frostbite, you can flash, but you can't go anywhere. Hook landed onto Chick in the wing. 7 kills on Kalista. 9.5 minutes into this game. They are running away with it.
And this is sort of just the audition to say, ban my Kalista for the rest of the season. This is an outstanding performance thus far coming through from Kalichi. Took the Halo Blades as well as their options, so had a lot of that early game power. We've seen Lethal Tempo as an option, but top side, Tygoon.
Well, here we go. They're going for a turret dive here. Look at all the damage that gets put down as well. Voperto will be able to walk out of turret range with their life. They also have the Rift Herald if they want to put it down. Lots of options right now for the side of Team Ishtar, but none of the options involve trying to shut down this Kalista.
Like, I think a lot of what's happening... Oh, goodness.
Oh, the flag and drag. He gets into the wall, but it will not matter. Turret goes down. Dissipate versus Tygoon. Not sure who wins this fight.
Oh.
Dissipate, though, trying to make something happen. Does get the Stand United. Goes for the knockup. The flash from Tygoon. The taunt goes down, and the kill goes over to Dissipate. Their third kill of the game. Meanwhile, there's more fighting in the bot lane, and Kalichi rending the life out of Frostbite there. An 8th kill for this Kalista. All right. How many kills is Kalista going to end with in this game?
Are we doing over-under at this point? I think,
I think we are. Like, I'm all right. What, 10 minutes in? They've kept the game kind of close. We'll go with 15 and a half.
15 and a half. I'm taking the over in this game, honestly.
You're taking the over on that one?
Yeah, the main reason being that I look at the rest of the map here, and there is a Camille, there is a Kayn, and they have not done anything to this Kalista thus far this game. You look at the bottom side of the map, there's a Lost Chapter built on the Syndra, who probably gets taken down by about 4 spears in a rend. Lulu gets taken down by maybe 2 spears of Pierce in a rend, and I think if we're being generous there, if the exhaust comes down from Frostbite, I think it's 3 spears that Pierce in a rend. So it's looking really rough for them to stay alive. Yes.
Looking a little tough for Please Don't Run to stay alive, but luckily they had Holy in the back pocket, getting a Thresh Lantern out of there. As they're trying to make plays onto this Victor, they may have determined it is too late to try to kill the Kalista. They already have their Immortal Shield Bow, and now the dive onto Please Don't Run It. Tygoon finding the kill, Dissipate on the back end, picking one. Roberto in a little bit of trouble there, taking a couple of turret shots. Dissipate coming through with that Dark Passage. Roberto getting the buff from Chick in the Wing. Tygoon from the side will land the stun onto Dissipate. Gets a big shutdown, and now Holy will fall as well. It's a double kill for Camille, and all of a sudden this Camille is now supercharged at 5-1.
Yeah, actually, as soon as I say over, I immediately regret it at this point, because in that fight, I mean, Kalichi just wasn't able to show up. No ultimates available, though. Here it goes.
Trying to move around the flash onto Roberto. The rend, no, just short. Please Don't Run It. Trying to help out their AD carry. The healing that's coming out. One more auto attack should be able to do it. Kalichi, can you get in range? The shield put down by Chick in the Wing. Tygoon and Voperto will be able to get away with their lives. So much gold on the table for either team, and they could not convert.
Oh my goodness, and Kalichi going to be able to pick up their first tower of the game now. It's so much damage coming through from this Kalista still. I mean, we thought that was completely doomed when Kalichi was flashing forward in effectively a 1v4, but look at this full health back up there. Almost had 2 kills there, I think, if not for some timely Lulu shields, Guardian, everything basically to keep Kalichi alive. Or to keep, Vaperto alive, and Kalichi would have picked up another couple of kills there, so it's still really scary facing up against this Kalista.
We're beginning to see the mythics come out here. Divine Thunder on this Camille. 4 drinkers apiece for each of these junglers. And really, it looks like what's going to break the stalemate is the next champion to hit their power point, and potentially a fight breaking off the back of that.
I think that's going to be the next sort of major fight should be around this 3rd dragon. I think that for the side of Team Ishtar right now, they just got to sort of park the bus a little bit, play a little bit more towards their win condition, which is this Camille. Get her down to that bot lane, get her pushing into that tower, and find your advantages that way. You don't want to try and fight this Kalista right now. You need to try and fight the other 4 members, but realistically, this Kalista now sitting on 2 items. 2 items, okay, at 14 minutes.
Wow.
Both of us just sort of taking that in as it happens.
I mean, take a look at the CS differential. It's massive right now. It's about 35, 34, whatever. Listen, I couldn't pass algebra 2, so math isn't my strongest subject, but basic math says that's a lot.
I mean, basic math also says that Kalichi has double the Jinx's gold. Double.
Yeah. At 14 minutes, it's like this Kalista has 8,000 gold. Has 1,000 more than Tygoon right now.
Yes. This Kalista's really fad. Like, there are words that I can't say on broadcast to describe how fad this this Callista is, but regardless, they're just going to try and keep rotating them around the map. Basically, wherever this Callista is, you have to be careful of any sort of fights, because even still, Dissipate is really scary on this Jarvan. Oh boy.
Oh, Volperto in no man's land, face to the wind, trying to do what they can to help him out, but I don't think it'll do all too much. Volperto going back in, please don't run it, finding the kill there. In the bottom lane, it's Tygoon and Kingfisher going at it, but a turret able to help out Kingfisher a little bit as Tygoon trying to hit level 11, trying to get even stronger at this point, because really, it's a race against time. You cannot let this Callista hit critical mass.
And the main thing is Callista's supposed to be an early game champion unless you have just like 3 items or 2 items ahead of the enemy AD carry at this point. That's when it doesn't matter what sort of champion it is. Like, realistically, yes, Olaf doesn't do as well in the later stages when everyone has 5 items, but if an Olaf has 5 items and, you know, your enemy has 2 items, it's going to be the strongest champion in the game, and that's what's happening. Oh my goodness.
That's a lot of damage, and please don't run it. Finding a solo kill there. Now all of a sudden this Victor might get activated as the objective bounties are about to be prepped for the side of Team Ishtar. And when you were looking at the objective bounty message this early into the game, 16 minutes in, you really aren't happy.
It makes it seem worse than it is, though. Oh boy, here we go.
Well, engagement onto Frostbite, the knock up the flay, the exhaust went down.
Glitch is tanking!
The Callista was tanking the turret, but they still find a kill. The Triumph is not enough. Huge shutdown for Frostbite. Tygoon manages to find Kingfisher under the turret, so that is an objective bounty to be claimed for the side of Team Ishtar. So, listen, a little bit of relief here. Just after the objective bounties come up, you get a couple of free kills there, getting the objective bounty, and all of a sudden the gold is right back where it was before.
Yeah, and realistically, the objective bounty should be going away soon too, but oh boy.
They've got a lot of damage here. Here comes the knockup, though. Face to the wind finds the kill onto Holy. There's a lot of damage out of the Syndra, but not a lot of health as Dissipate manages to find the kill. They had dropped the Rift Herald in the mid lane and took out the mid outer turret as well. So the Rams just continuing to try to increase their leads here. And it's not going so poorly for them, although they are only up 1 turret.
I think the worst part about that attempted dive on the top side of the map was that Kalichi was fully aware that they were going to be tanking that turret the entire time, and the fact that the shutdown goes over to Frostbite means that this Jinx isn't as far behind as they were before. It is just a 3,000 gold when you look at it from that perspective, but I mean, this Callista is still insanely fed. It looks like she's opting towards what could be a Runon's Hurricane, most likely, into potentially a Phantom Dancer as well. There's just so many different options that they can go at this point, but realistically, it's still an extremely fed Callista. You do not want to be fighting her around objectives specifically as well, because she can start stacking up those spears onto an objective and smite that effectively. And that's why Callista ended up having her ren nerfed against monsters, because of how safe she was taking objectives. She would outsmite junglers, and even now, being able to just stack up all of your spears there and then feeling free to just, transfer them even all over to just an unsuspecting member is going to be incredibly scary. But level 11 on this Callista compared to the level 9 of Jinx.
Yeah, and you just mentioned how you don't want to fight around objectives, but take a look at the dragon that's about to be up. It's an Infernal Drake. The Rams could be on Soul Point in a little bit. This early on into the game with this strong of a team composition, how well they've performed so far. If you're Team Ishtar, I mean, do you really want to risk it all onto 1 dragon and give yourself a couple of extra minutes of scale? Is the big question. They found Kalichi, though. Kalichi
walked the shields!
Huge shields onto Kalichi on the back line. Vapero got taunted up, and the Callista will survive, and the back line of Team Ishtar is falling. Callista will finally fall, but it doesn't matter. Frostbite is the only one left standing, but not for long. It's a double kill for Please Don't Run It. It's a double kill for Dissipate, and it's a 5-for-1 ace for the Rams, and they will take the dragon and put themselves on Soul Point.
Insanely well played coming through from the side of WCU Rams there. This Callista stays alive forever in the backline there. Yes, she does fall, but we mentioned this earlier. Dissipate, very scary on this Jarvan, was able to pick up 4 kills in that early game, now up to 7, 2, and 8, building towards what looks to be a Sterak's Gauge at this point. So it's going to continue to be extremely scary as this game progresses. The Shen ult, the Locket, the Lantern Shield, everything comes down to keep Kalichi alive for as long as possible. And the only thing that can stop it is quite literally the most BS ultimate that you could have on the enemy team right now. If you are this Kalista, which is a Syndra ultimate, point and click, 500 damage, you're dead.
I mean, you know, you have plenty of shields, right? Like,
Yes.
you've gotten all the shields that you can get. There's the whoa, easy. Everything's all right. Kalichi is just still standing there, and has started the bear. Okay, all right. Everything's fine. That was very strange.
What just happened?
Bro, I have no idea. I have to be honest with you. But we were talking about the point and click ultimate, the unleashed power out of the Syndra. I mean, you know, you have your immortal shield bow, you have the Stand United ultimate, you have Thresh who's going to be able to provide some shielding to you as well. If you die to that, it means you should have died to something else long ago.
Yes.
Whoa, look at this absurd amount of damage here. Please don't run it trying to join the party. We'll stun up Tygoon, and we'll be able to get the kill with the Chaos Storm. So it's a 1-for-1 overall. Pretty happy with that if you are the victor, as now 2 items on this victor getting larger and larger, and it looks like the Rams are pulling away. But just as I say that, Roberto trying to make a play, finds the knockup. Is Runnet going to be able to kite this one out? I do not think so. Umbral Trespass is there. That is a kill for this Kane. They are getting a big shutdown. So, okay, you get one back. But now, Face to the Wind can be in a whole lot of trouble. There's the knockup, there's the flay, and there they go. Face to the Wind, face back to the base, baby. As that is an 11th kill out of this Kalista. We've set the line at 15.5. There's a chance there could be 2 more big team fights. You pick the over. You might still be in decent shape.
Yeah, still looking in decent shape here for that. But yes, this Kalista continues to find these plays, and it's just no respect given by Face to the Wind there. You have the flash. You have so many other ways to get out of that fight without losing your life. I think you just give up that tower and you cut your losses at that point. But Kalicha being able to pick up another kill for themselves. As we were mentioning, 3 items building towards what could be a wit's end now with the longsword and the dagger there. So lots of different options still for Kalicha to finish out this build. Wouldn't mind seeing a last item Guardian Angel even. There's a lot of different options here, but Kalichi's basically capped out on that attack speed at this point, so it's more so just about what they opt to go for in terms of damage as we continue on.
No, I feel like it would have been okay to opt for a stopwatch at this point in the game.
Oh!
Ooh, there's a good ultimate out of Tygoon. Here comes the Stand United. The ultimate's going down onto Kalichi, but Kalichi stands tall in the face of adversity. Dissipate's going to find a kill.
Look at lifesteal.
The crab too. But yeah, look at all that lifesteal. The stun going down, Face to the Wind, doing what they can to try to allow their team to survive. Boperto in the middle of 4, taunted, hooked, knocked up, dead. Down you go. And it's a 3-for-0 in favor of the Rams, and they are running roughshod all over Team Ishtar.
This Kalista ate the Syndra ultimate, the Camille ultimate, the Jinx ultimate, and then just walks over to Raptors and heals up to full. It's ridiculous how strong this champion is right now. Yes, you've got that shield bow giving you that extra healing, but so much extra attack speed, so many spears being able to get thrown down with this Guinsoo's as well. And, you know, unless you're one-shotting this Kalista, you're losing the fight. And that's sort of the pattern that we've seen.
What is going on here? Baron going down, Tygoon trying to get in there, but everybody's out. Everybody can just leave. Teleport burnt by Tygoon, and the rest of the Rams will ram through the Baron wall and escape. And right now, with the Dragon coming up in 40 seconds, and that's sole point, if you are Team Ishtar, you have to fight.
Team Ishtar need to try and find some sort of miracle play, and I think a lot of it started off well in that last fight where you've got the Camille ultimate right on top of that Kalista. The main thing is, if we look at the rest of the team here, this Jarvan 8-2 and 10, same kill participation as this Kalista. This Thresh 0-2 and 18, basically the picture perfect support play right here, assisted on basically what is every single one of those Victor kills and those Kalista kills, if you want to put it in that way. But it's just been a really strong performance out of those 3 members, and not to mention that Kingfisher's done a great job on weak side, continuously putting pressure down, as well as this Victor in the mid lane dishing out some big damage. And while Tygoon can try and pick up as many objective bounties as they want, that's just the freest soul we can see come through, and the best soul considering the champions that they've got on their team.
This looks like it's going to be very dangerous for Team Ishtar. I don't think they can fight anymore at this point, even if you get to 6 items. I mean, all right, no, maybe if you get to 6 items, that's the only time you're going to be able to make anything happen. The turrets are falling. The gold lead 8,500, and it looks like the Rams are ready to just use their wallets to bully Team Ishtar.
It's oh no.
Oh my!
Tygoon.
Oh! Tygoon on the wrong side of the tracks will be able to get themselves out of their own ultimate. On the backline, Kalichi though is well protected. Umbral Trespass. Nope, never mind. That was just the Shen ultimate. There was no Umbral Trespass to be had. Dissipate.
13?
Gets another kill. Chick in the wing has
14?
met Kalichi.
15?
It's a triple kill for Kalichi. Do they get one more? It looks like Tygoon's going to find their way out of there. The line is 15.5.
Oh no!
Kalichi needs to get one more kill. I don't know if they're going to be able to spawn in time. It looks like they're knocking down the middle inhibitor. You know, if they don't go for the win here, you are in good shape. They're going to take out the top inhibitor turret and the top inhibitor. But now the auto attacks have started onto the Nexus turrets. Let's see. Is RareAdam's bet going to hit? They've got the minions. The first turret goes down. Tygoon is not even in the base. Moperdo is getting close, dodges the hook, trying to go in. Does manage to find Dissipate on a shutdown. They're going to engage onto Kalichi. Here's your chance. Does Kalichi live? There's a kill going over to the Victor.
Oh my goodness.
They've chosen to pick a fight with Kalichi. No, it's not going over to him. It's a quadra kill for the Victor. Let's get the Penta, baby. No! Penta kill for the Victor. And unfortunately, your bet will not succeed. This is why you set the half line. Vegas always knows what they're talking about. And the Rams take game one.
Oh man, that's the best way to lose a bet right there, though. A pentakill coming through for please don't run it at the end of the day, and just so well played by the side of the WCU Rams. They were able to continuously find these fights with this Kalista and find just massive advantages from the get-go, and realistically, there's nothing to hate about the side of WCU Rams there. They did everything as planned, and it paid off in so many different ways.
Yeah, we talked about how their team composition does a good job of protecting their carries. And take a look at what happened here. There's no kills on their top laner. There's no kills on their support. Your Jarvan, as your tertiary damage dealer, has 9 kills. And then all of the other kills in the game are on your 2 main carries. This was textbook. When you play a composition like this, how you are going to win a game and what your scoreline should look like by the end of it.
Yeah, it was really well played, and of course, a huge shout out to Kalichi. Their great performance on that Kalista. Honestly, I think Holy deserves MVP, though, if anything. 0-2 and 27 on the Thresh. Took part in 80% of the kills in a 35-kill game. That's a great performance out of this Thresh. And yes, we can talk about how much damage Please Don't Run It and Kalichi were able to do, but none of that would have been possible without the power of Dare Holy in this game.
And really, it's hard to say that, a guy went in 0-2-27 and went under the radar, but really, Holy did go under the radar this game. There was a lot of really good plays, but everybody's so enamored with the kills. Listen, man, getting kills is sexy in League of Legends. Like those are the numbers that you want to see. But Holy, the unsung hero, hit a lot of really good hooks, had some amazing picture-perfect flays. Like, I play a lot of Thresh. I'm pretty good at Thresh. I can't play like that guy. Those were some really, really impressive plays and really overall great Thresh play. And the thing I like the most about the Rams is they understood their composition well and they played it to perfection. And so many teams are unable to do that, and that's why they struggle.
Yeah, and I think that if we're going to use the same sort of analogy there, we're getting kills is sexy, then being Dare Holy this game is beautiful, because that's just great performance there. Just fly under the radar, do exactly what you need to do, and make sure your carries can carry.
On the other side of the coin, what do you think went wrong for the side of Team Ishtar?
I think Team Ishtar, a lot of it just came down to not understanding what the Kalista does. And that sounds weird because this champion's been around for a long time, but as we mentioned, it's hard to play Kalista because she's never played and she's kind of really difficult, but it's also hard to play against her because no one knows what she does anymore. This is a champion that isn't seen very often. You sort of don't understand sometimes how much damage this champion can do, and we saw that at the level 1 play. I mean, Chick in the Wing just got taken down. Level 1, they got the level 2 advantage, they got the Flay down, and it was basically, that was the lane. The lane was over at level 2 because this Kalista was able to pick up a kill. She kept being able to pick up some, pretty advantageous kills, but she does a lot of damage. You have to keep in mind that when you're playing against the Kalista, the more time you spend in a fight, the less your health bar matters, I guess, because every spear that she's able to put into like a pin cushion, once she runs that out, it does, half into 2/3 into 3/4 into your whole health bar at some point. So you always have to be mindful of that.
And one thing that I did not like coming out of Team Ishtar is when it comes to understanding the composition, they did not understand the assignment here. A lot of times I see teams pick a Jinx and then fight early on. Like, that is not what you want to be doing. You want your Jinx to scale into the game. Like, sure, Jinx has a lot of power early, but there are champions that do bully out the Jinx. And when you run into a scenario like that, you just have to elongate the game. You just want to farm it out, have a pretty chill out score line, and then you want to fight later on in the game. But the problem is all these teams go to brawl early on, and this is the result. And they wonder what happened.
Yeah, and I think that in a lot of ways, I think what the key to their composition was to not force anything too crazy in the early game. Yes, you have to try and put this Kalista behind, but if Kalista's 0-0 at 20 minutes and so is your Jinx, you've done well for yourself, because that Jinx, we know how strong they scale, and we've mentioned how underwhelming Kalista can be if she isn't fed. But of course, this game 15-3, very fed. I think you ban it out for game 2 if you're Team Ishtar.
Oh, you have to.
Yes.
Oh my god, you have to. There's a lot of things that you have to ban here, right?
Yes.
Because you take a look from top to bottom. The Jarvan was played very well. The Kalista, the Victor, and the Thresh were played very well. Not to say the Shen wasn't played well, but Shen is just, you kind of expect that sort of thing is going to happen when you play against the Shen. It was a murderer's row of a team. They got their composition that they wanted. And while it did seem like that Please Don't Run It struggled early on, really came into their own in the mid game as the Victor. And when it comes to picking bans, you need to figure out, was that because the Kalista was strong, or is that because Please Don't Run It is a better mid to late game player? And if you want to run that risk, you could leave the Victor open, but I mean, when you're already down 1-0 in a series, you kind of can't take any risks when it comes to the bans.
Yeah, you can't take risks, especially if you're given the opportunity to get a second chance at life here. Realistically, there's a lot of leagues that would just be, you lost the Kalista, good luck. Maybe in the second round robin or maybe in playoffs you get to ban it out. But I think you just have to show that you've learned your lesson here and just ban it away.
Yeah, and we will see what Team Ishtar elects to end up doing here, as we're probably going to get into the picks and bans very soon. Are we going to a short break, or are they just going to run straight into it?
We'll see in a little bit. I think we're going to take a short break regardless.
All right. We're going to take a short break then, and we will be right back as we look to see what Team Ishtar is going to cook up for the Game 2 draft. As the Rams took Game 1, we will see you very soon for the draft for Game 2.